everybody. This is be your first social studies lesson for the week. If you guys look carefully, it's similar. Actually, it's the exact same thing you had from the end of your last packet, because I don't think you guys got to the French and Indian War. From what I saw when we did our Zoom session. So I thought I'd redo it. I wanted to start fresh. I want you guys to remember this, okay? So we're on lesson 4, French and Indian War, page 130 in your packet. So we look at this map. We know we talked about for a while now European powers coming over to the Americas and overtaking Indians' territory, kicking them off their land. If you look at the key, it's easier to see on mine because it's in color. The British, it's all along the coast. It's the 13 colonies. They own all that land. The French own everything west from there. And then there's a disputed area, which means they're arguing over it. This is what Britain and France were arguing over, okay? They wanted this land. They wanted this land, okay? So this is, you have to look at this as these were major superpowers during their time. We're one of the wealthiest and most powerful countries in the world. During this time, United States of America didn't exist yet. The most powerful nations were probably Spain and England at the time, okay? So it's only natural that they're going to want to fight over territory, okay? It's like to see who's the toughest. So the reason it's called the French and Indian War, you'll find out it actually has 2 names. In Europe, they just called it the 7-Year War because it lasted 7 years. But the reason it's called the French and Indian War, I don't know why they didn't throw Britain in there, but because Indians fought on both sides, okay? Native Americans is the proper term. But as you see, if you could look at the picture at the top, it says, in the French and Indian War, many Native Americans chose to fight either the French or on the British side, okay? So they helped them both out, I guess depending where their loyalties lie. Okay, so I'm going to start reading. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of background information about how this started. It was a war with 2 names, fought on 2 continents. In Europe, it was called the 7 Years' War, one of many wars between France and Great Britain. In North America, it was called the French and Indian War. Here, the fighting included a third power, Native Americans, who had lived on the land long before the French or British arrived. They took sides. So conflicts begin. Native Americans had always had a mixed relationship with Europeans. Sometimes they helped struggling newcomers or traded actively with the colonists in their area. Sometimes, however, they attempted to drive European colonists away. In 1675, Metacom, a Wampanoag leader in New England, began a war against colonists in the region. So this is a leader. Wampanoag is a Native American tribe. So he started a war with the colonists in that region in New England. New England is right up here, okay? It's right north of us, okay? When we think of the Boston area and states surrounding that, okay? We're going to go to page 131 now. Okay, it says Metacom was called King Philip by settlers. The conflict became known as King Philip's War. The result was a defeat for the Metacom, which many of these people died. Not all Native Americans supported Metacom. Some joined the colonists in the war. Colonists accepted Native American help, yet what they really wanted was their land. As the American colonies grew, settlers pushed west, clearing woods for farms and building towns. By the mid-1700s, many had crossed the Appalachian Mountains to reach the Ohio River Valley. This rich land was home to many powerful Native American peoples. The French also claimed the area. The stage was set for a bloody fight. Okay, so we have to fill out this graphic organizer. It says Native Americans react to settlers. The main idea is that Native Americans had mixed relationship with European settlers, as we read. Sometimes they traded with them, and then sometimes they didn't feel safe and they attacked them and they wanted to, push them back because they were taking their land. So I need 3 supporting details that support that main idea, that Native Americans had a mixed relationship with European settlers. I gave you some examples, okay? So you have to go back and through your reading and find 3 supporting details that support that main idea. Okay, on to page 132. It says, War between Britain and France. The Ohio River Valley was part of the huge region that French explorer Robert de La Salle had claimed for France. The French built forts in the area to protect their claim. The British also thought the valley was theirs. Some British pioneers established a trading post near the site of the present-day Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. They considered this area across the Appalachian Mountains to be part of the Virginia colony. The French would not give up their claim to the valley. However, French soldiers destroyed the British trading post and built a fort nearby. They called it Fort Duquesne. Okay, I think I pronounced that right. In 1753, the British sent a small force to the region. Its leader was a young soldier from Virginia named George Washington. He sounds familiar to me. Washington saw that Fort Duquesne was well guarded, so he decided not to attack. Instead, his men fought and defeated a small group of French soldiers in the woods nearby. Then they built their own fort. They called it Fort Necessity. Now, what does the word necessity mean? It means you absolutely have to have it. So I believe that's why they called it that. He called it Fort Necessity, okay? French soldiers, joined by Native Americans, attacked the fort. Together, they beat the British. The French allowed Washington and his surviving soldiers to return to Virginia. So General Washington, as he was known before he became our first president, didn't start out with success. It was actually the French that defeated the British, okay? But luckily, they were able to go home, okay? All right, so, excuse me. It's 133, and now we are on page 133. This is a picture of young George Washington, okay, in his uniform. It says Lieutenant Colonel, sorry, I'm tripping up on my words. Lieutenant Colonel George Washington led a British force in the first battle of the French and Indian War when he was only 22. Okay. Okay, so let's continue at the top of the page. It says the French and Indian War had begun. The war's name came from the fact that in North America, the British Army fought both the French and their Native American allies. An ally is a military partner. Many Native Americans supported the French. They feared the British whose colonies were spreading. The British, in turn, sought the support of the powerful Iroquois as an ally. At first, the Iroquois resisted. One of their leaders said, "The French and the British are both quarreling," that means fighting, "about lands which belong to us. Such a quarrel as this may end in our destruction." Okay, so later, the Iroquois decided to side with the British, okay? They hoped this would help them keep control of their land. So they thought maybe if they befriended the British, maybe they would let them keep their land. So we have certain Native American groups fighting alongside the French, and then we have certain Native American groups, including the Iroquois, fighting alongside British troops, okay? So Wampanoags, they were French. They were for the French, and Iroquois, there was a group of Native Americans that sided with the British. Okay, it says for number 4, complete the sequence chart. List 2 other key events leading up to the start of the French and Indian War. It lists 2 for you already. Number 1, French and British claim land in Ohio River Valley. And then they list the last one. French defeat Washington at Fort Necessity with the help of Native American allies. So we want to talk about what happened in between those, okay? There's a lot of examples, okay? Let me just get to the right page. They talked about the Ohio River Valley, both thinking it was their own, okay? So they put that down for number 1. What did they do at the valley? What did the French do at the valley? They attacked the trading posts of the British, right? They also built forts, okay? So that's a couple ideas to give you, okay? All right, so that's it for today, and we will pick up on Thursday. Okay, thanks for watching.